Thank you all for coming here this morning. This is a very timely topic, I know, for many of us. And in fact, yesterday I was on my computer working and I got this pop-up from Norton saying they had thwarted an attack on my computer, and I just freaked out and went through all my files at that point. So I know that many of us have anxiety, questions, concerns about our safety, our finances, and the ever-present threats that are out there. So we're so happy to introduce and welcome Roger Rhodes of HomeWatch Caregivers to guide us through some do's and don'ts about this topic. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. And I'm with St. Gabriel's Episcopal Church also. We've raised a lot of Episcopalian kids, so. Thank you all for being here. Thank you, Karen, for setting us up. Thank you, Father Gary. I told him I was going to say, hi, neighbor. I've been going to a men's group at St. Gabriel's at his next door neighbor for 10 years, at least twice a month. So I also want to thank the Reverend Sandy Boyd. 100 years ago, Sandy was at St. Gabriel's in the front office, and I was talking about something, and Sandy, go with me, this is my story, so just go with it. She came out and said, you seem like a smart guy, we need to talk. I went, oh, I'm in trouble now. She was teaching a death and dying class at the time at St. Regis University. And so we started talking, she says, you need to educate folks. And so Mindy and I, over the last 14, 15 years, have probably given 100 presentations at churches and senior centers, not just this topic, but everything else. Family caregiver burnout is a popular one. Dementia care is a popular one. So thank you, Sandy. Thank you, Karen. Thank you, Father Gary. Okay, there's a Catholic, a Baptist, and an Episcopalian stranded on a desert island. And everybody was freaking out. And so the Catholic's got his rosary beads and he's doing Hail Marys and Our Father. And the Baptist is in his Bible trying to find something so they could escape. And the Episcopalian is sitting at the end of the island just cool as a cucumber. And the other two and I said, what are you doing? What are you doing to get us to save? Get us saved, what are you doing? He says, I gave the stewardship committee $10,000 2 years ago. I gave them $20,000 last year. Don't worry, they're gonna find us. We're in the middle of our stewardship campaign right now also. So let's get started on this, and hopefully I'm not blocking the camera with my back, Father Gary, I don't know. Whoop, whoop. There we go. I got this nice alliteration. Scary scams, rifle frauds, and tricky thefts. How many here have been or know somebody who's been taken advantage of? Wow, a lot. This, and the bad guys are getting better and better and better, and smarter and smarter. Part of these slides in this education, okay, we got from the district attorney, the 16th Judicial District Attorney, and so we're sharing some of those slides, but it's getting out of hand. There's over 1 million of us that have been taken advantage of, including myself. 10–15% get reported. So we'll go through stuff today. The more we report, the better the authorities can help us stop this, keep from going. And we're in the billions of dollars, $50 billion annually, and that's growing really, really rapidly. It's not just us seniors anymore. I was at King Soopers about 2 weeks ago, getting something. I usually do the self-checkout, which I hate. Oh, I was getting gift cards for my employees. And so you have to go through and get the gift cards loaded up. And this gal, young gal, looked like she'd lost her last friend, and she's probably 20 years old. And I didn't say anything, but the lady behind her said, "Are you okay?" And the checkout clerk at King Super started crying. She says, I just lost $1,000, got scammed. And I don't know the details, but it's not just us seniors, it's teenagers too. The county sheriff departments have been trained. Here in this area, about 4 years ago, a lot of the large counties were invited by the Secret Service to go to Langley and get trained on scams and bring that education back to the local area. And they checked in, I think, on a Friday night, and they had a little coffee thing, and Saturday morning they all came in whining and complaining. You know, you go to the hotel and you've got the hotel TV, and you can go in and you've got the hotel spiel, and you've got movies. Everybody in the room had signed up for 4 or 5 porn movies the night before. And they were going, what's my sheriff gonna say when I get back? And the Secret Service guy hacked into everybody in the room just to show them how easy it was. That got their attention right away. People were on the edge of their chairs. Well, there we go. This is from the 16th Judicial District. Why are we vulnerable as human beings? Because at least this generation, we respect authority, we like to please people, we get pretty overconfident maybe in our computers. We've been scammed before. We're nice people, we're friendly. Sometimes we're under a lot of stress if there's a threat. And one case in our congregation at St. Gabriel, there was a lonely gentleman, a widower, that got taken for $50,000 at St. Gabriel's because he was lonely and some girlfriend popped up, and it ended up being two gentlemen from Laos, Vietnam area. So we're vulnerable. Okay, we're going to cover all these, and maybe there's some more. Please, everybody, interrupt me if I'm in a topic that you can add to. Please, that I had this experience, this experience. But we're going to cover the phone, the postal service, the emails, and the internet. Those are all places people grab us. Okay.
You been scammed?
I wouldn't be surprised. Father Gary's a very clever guy. He's very tech savvy. I was hitting the down button. Okay, is that the next one?
Just maybe just hit the trackpad.
Pardon me?
Just hit the trackpad. That's what moved us that one.
Okay, thank you, sir. Government is a really big source. We all respect the government, the federal government especially. So they're gonna look like and sound like they're from the government. We'll cover 3 divisions here pretty quickly. They're offering special rates on meds and grant money, and they're looking for our personal information. They'll even, we had somebody at St. Gabriel's scammed out of Chicago when she was visiting. And they had badge numbers for the Chicago Police Department and names, and they did their homework. Social Security, well, I wanted IRS next.
So, good. Yeah, let me see if I can control it from over here.
You're there.
I am trainable sometimes. Okay.
There you go, there's your IRS.
Somebody in the back room playing games.
Yeah, me.
IRS is especially a scary one. I had one of these, and they left a recording. It's one of those robot voice recordings. And I got a little bit worried, but my wife's a smart one in the family. She's a recovering attorney, so she figured it out pretty quickly. But if it's not the federal IRS, it's Colorado Department of Revenue. We've had people contacted by both. And boy, one thing you sure don't want to get behind on and get in trouble with is IRS. So they'll threaten that you've got a debt, and if it doesn't get paid right now with wiring money or a gift card, there's gonna be a warrant for your arrest. And, it's pretty easy in the internet world to get the last 4 digits of our social security number. So these people, to be legit, will recite to you the last 4 digits of your social security number, and that kind of gets your attention.
Isn't it true that IRS only communicates by mail?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, I'll never pay.
Good.
No call.
We're gonna cover that really quickly.
Okay.
But yeah, and if you don't pay up, they will call back and they'll hit you hard again. And when we are trying to be scammed, it's so hard to get your IRS information. It's easy to get Social Security information off the internet, but IRS is really tough. So thank God my wife stepped in and we were okay. Social Security. Just like the IRS, we sure don't want to have our Social Security checks cut back. They'll call up and say, your account's been compromised. We've had people who've called up and said, we've overpaid you. Now you owe us some money back. And they want that money right away. And they'll try to get you on the phone to confirm that they have the right party. They want to recite your Social Security number. And boy, I tell you what, once somebody gets your Social Security number, that opens up Pandora's box to a lot of theft and scams. And they'll threaten you that we've got your bank account number, we've overpaid you, we're gonna make a drawdown, can you give us your bank information? Don't do that. And they may not want any money. They may just want to keep pushing you under stress, under duress, to give them your personal information number. Social Security numbers, PIN numbers, those types of things, and not push you hard for money. Different bad guys do different things. Let's look at Medicare. Medicare is another one that most of us have. We sure don't want our Medicare messed up. So they want you to give you their Medicare number. They want to get a credit card number from you to sign up. Your Medicare account's been compromised, so we need to transfer that money that we've been putting in your normal account to a new bank account. And they're trying to get all that information so they can set up another bank account in your name. So, here's some of the keys they're looking for. Supposed to be a title. Okay, we'll go with that. Key things they can use to scam us: our date of birth, our Social Security numbers, driver's license numbers. That was a surprising one. I talked with the district attorney and said they can do a lot with the Colorado driver's license number and go in. And then any bank account numbers, any savings account number. Sometimes the bad guys will go in and put a change of address on you without your notice, without your knowing that, and all of a sudden all your mail, your savings account mail, your bank account mail, your investment mail is going to the bad guys. So they've changed your address, which is very, very scary. A few years ago, we mailed out invoices to our clients, and I usually do it we're in the Wells Fargo Tower over by Swedish, and it was late and Friday, and I did get it done, so Saturday morning I put them in the blue box outside at the Highlands Ranch post office right there at Quebec and University. It turns into Lincoln, and I got calls for the next 10 days. I want to pay my bill, I said, they were mailed out. And so I went and talked to the postmaster in Highlands Ranch. I said, what's going on? He said, sir, anytime you mail something, you need to come inside and throw it in the slot inside. I said, I put it in the blue box. He said, sir, anytime you mail anything, you need to go inside. He wouldn't admit, but the bad guys had got into the blue boxes outside on Quebec and Highlands Ranch and took everybody's mail. Well, people mailed checks into Excel Energy. Yes, ma'am.
Those keys are universal.
Pardon me?
Those keys that open those boxes are universal. The keys that open the boxes, if you have a bag of mailboxes, and you and all your neighbors share one big box.
Yes, ma'am.
The key that opens that, opens every other box in a huge area. Those keys are universal.
Like for the neighborhood mailboxes, you mean?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, but not
Not the blue
Yeah,
boxes.
he's talking about the, but the blue box keys are all alike. They have one key that fits the blue boxes. Somebody gets a hold of it, one key, they can fit. two boxes
Yeah,
together.
you know, you get those keys, do not duplicate.
Yeah,
Bad guys
duplicate them.
have their own little machine like they're at Ace Hardware, seriously.
Yeah.
Yes, they do. I'll show you about a lab we discovered.
At Christmas one year, because people mail so much, the bad guys literally ripped the blue box off it and just.
Off
took
its
the whole
family, yeah.
box.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's like some idiot in South Texas puts a chain into an ATM machine and tries to pull it out with his pickup truck.
Always go inside.
There's always something. So, let's see, local, state, and county folks can be quoted. I got again, another recording from, Fort Logan area, wanting my information that there'd been a hack, and I do zero business in not Fort Logan, Fort Morgan, out northeast. But people will call up for, besides the government, which is where y'all want to pay attention to, you know, XL Energy will call us, the Denver water people. Your electricity's gonna be cut off, your water's gonna be cut off. We need a gift card now, or we need your bank account now. And then people will call up acting like they're from Target, or they're from Amazon, people that you do business with frequently. I think she said earlier she got a notice, Microsoft, it looked like a Microsoft notice that, hey, your protection's gone, you need to download this information to keep your protection going. I've seen those quite a bit. And then some of the common messages you're gonna hear is, you've got a fine, you've got a fee, you've missed a payment, on and on and on, just to get you stressed. And yes, ma'am.
The newest one, and this just was in the last week, one of my friends sent me an email and said, it came from both she and her husband, you know, can you do me a favor? You know, and of course, stupid me, I replied back, because this was nothing.
Yeah.
And then it came back that, oh, you know, can you go and buy some gift cards? And then my friend said, I've been hacked, and that, so.
A friend at Church of St. Gabriel's, I don't know if people remember Bob and Lindsay Lehman at all. Got a Facebook announcement from Bob saying, hey, I need your help, Bob. And one of the people at St. Gabe's clicked on it, and it said, yeah, my account's messed up, I need to get a gift card to my niece, and can you help me out? And so Bob got about 14 phone calls in South Carolina. He's not far from where Deacon Karen is at. On Facebook, if I get a friend's suggestion and you click on it and there's only like 3 photographs and there's not much to the Facebook, that's a sign that's a fake. And you delete all those friend requests. But early signs that this is not the government. As she said earlier, the federal government, local governments do not call. They do not text you, they do not email you. They use the postal service. And even with that, you need to be a little careful. Again, Social Security numbers are super important. The gift card request is super important. Wire transfers happen a lot. We had a client we took care of 24/7 for a while, and she got a call from somebody. I'm getting ahead of myself. This is the grandma story. Grandma, it's Timmy. It's Timmy. I'm in trouble. I need you to wire some money. And the lady hung up and was wiring money, and our caregiver stepped in and called the daughter real quick. And she said, where's Timmy? I said, oh, he was just here. He went out to run some errands. Timmy wasn't in trouble. But psychologically, there's studies that one of the most strongest human relationships The strongest bonds are grandparent to grandchild. That's a super strong relationship, and grandparents will do anything for their grandkids.
With
Yes.
your grandkids, always having a word, a password, something they know, that you know, that will identify them that nobody else will know. Where did we camp last summer?
Yeah.
What's your grandmother's name?
Yep.
Somewhere, something off, something that totally, that they have to be able to give you that name or they won't be able to get.
I'll tell you the one our daughters and I use, my wife and I use, and we've changed it, so I'm not giving away anything. Creosote bush. Creosote bush. When they were little, we went to the botanical gardens in Phoenix area, and one of the questions was, what's the most prevalent plant in the desert of the US? And it's creosote bush, so that was our safe word. We've changed it. Okay. And there's always a sense of urgency. You gotta do it now. Give me the information on the phone now. You have to wire today. And there's that sense of urgency and stress that they try to do. And another hint from the district attorney's office: the longer you stay on the phone, the more likely they're gonna hook you. So if you don't feel comfortable, hang up. And if it's legit, they're gonna be calling back. Is this the next one?
Yeah.
So be smart, be aware, be safe. We'll talk about phishing, and we'll talk about Facebook in a couple more slides. Skimming credit cards. Broadway and Highland Ranch Parkway. There is a gas station there on the corner. And I went to get gas quite a few years ago, and my card wouldn't work. And I said, what's going on? And they said, oh, don't use any of the pumps, we've been scammed. Somebody went in and put their own devices to skim your credit card information. You know, if you go to Costco, they got so many pieces of red tape covering every corner. So if that tape's been broken, you know it's safe. So I go to Costco as much as I can. And I said, well, tell me which one of my cards was hit, and they wouldn't even give me information. I called Visa and said, has my card been hit? And they said, yes. And they said, well, and there's other retailers besides that gas station. I said, well, tell me those retailers so I won't be going there. And Visa wouldn't tell me. They wouldn't tell me what retailers have been impacted. So anytime I use my card, I always check those little red tapes, make sure they haven't been broken. There's a lot of data on our credit cards. Okay, what the thieves can do to you: call your credit card user, change your billing address, and this is what they do. They'll change your billing address and they'll run up a bunch of charges. One morning I checked our corporate credit card and we had 27 simultaneous charges from Starbucks all over the country. And they were like, $8, something like that. And I called the credit card company and they said, yep, those are the bad guys. They're just trying to get you for $5, and if it works, they're gonna hit you for a big one. So what do you have to do? You gotta cancel your credit card. This is my corporate credit card. I pay most of my bills online through that. And it's a big inconvenience to have to go back and redo those. But once they get your credit card, they're gonna change your credit report. They're gonna set up all types of phone, wireless services, and they'll even open a checking account under your name. This next one I had we're at another church and we had the 16th Judicial District guy and one of the fellows that went to the Secret Service training. The bad guys get your mail and there's a check. There's a solution. It's like developing the darkroom, and they put your check in this solution and wiggle it around, and all your signature goes. Now they have a blank check of yours. And once they get that blank check, they can get more. And the workaround to fix for that, the sheriff said, use gel pen. They're the gel pens that are not ballpoint, but gel. That solution will smear the gel, and they won't be able to get a blank check on you. But the bad guys have a lab, and they've got that solution there, They have a caller ID thing they can buy for $50. And they can type in IRS Washington DC, and when you get a phone call, you go, oh, it's legit, it's the IRS. About 2 months ago here in Denver area, a fellow got a call from Chase Bank. He's a small businessman, has 2 business partners, and they said, there's been a breach on your business account, and it's Chase Bank. On the caller ID, he said, this doesn't sound right. So he hung up on him, got his card attached to that account, and he called the 800 number behind it on the back of the card, legit. The bad guys had intercepted that 800 number. So he thought he was safe. And they went through it and went through it, and it made sense to him. He was calling the card number on the back. They got him for $350,000 out of his business account. Now his 2 partners are suing him for, destroying the company they own together. So the bad guys had the Chase Bank number on the back of the card. And they always tell you, call that number. So you've got to be super, super, super careful. Again, they're usually not going to call you on the phone. Just hang up. We did counterfeit checks, debit cards. We mentioned the driver's license. How many times you've gone somewhere and they want an ID? We use our driver's license as an ID. So once they get that, they are you now. You've lost your identity and they are you now. Bankruptcy. They'll put your name so they will avoid paying any debts. There is a prison scam all over the country where prisoners in jail are getting all this information from the black part of the internet and filing your tax return before you do and getting your refunds.
Oh my.
And that took a lot of cleaning up because it's all through the prison system all over the country. So your information's out there and it can be bought even if you're a prisoner locked behind bars. Give your name to the police during an arrest. They won't show up for court dates and it's your name who got in trouble. And all of a sudden the sheriffs are after you. They'll even file unemployment claims in your name and try to get monthly payments from unemployment. They become you and they hit everything. Yes, Mindy?
You got a good joke to break this
Mindy has a good joke.
streak?
Mindy suggests we do a good joke right now because all this is negative stuff and we don't want you to go away and go into a cave and never come out again and never use your credit card. Go ahead, Mindy.
All right, well, there was this elderly couple who've been married for 45, 50 years. It was their anniversary again, and of course they'd run out of gifts to give each other over the years, and so he said, oh, darling, I don't know what to get you, just give me a hint. She says, well, I want something that goes from 0 to 90 in 5 seconds. Meaning, she was hoping for something fast and sporty. So he bought her a scale. We heard he's getting out of the hospital relatively soon.
Coming
That's
out.
all I got.
Thank you, Mindy. This is heavy stuff. We don't mean to depress you, but it's good education. The thieves are really clever. This first 2 in green, do you guys, this is called spoofing. If we don't read, people don't read anymore. People skim. Do you see the difference between the 2 green ones up there?
The spelling of client.
Maybe it's easier.
Oh, okay.
The first one is legit. The bad guys have put a capital I for the L on the second one, and you read that. Oh,
Wow.
the one in brown, Huckleberry Law. This is from a law firm. They put a 1 in between Huckleberry and Law, but if you're used to getting something from, they can go on Facebook and learn a lot about you and know that maybe Huckleberry Law is somebody who's a friend on your Facebook, and you'll see Huckleberry Law and you think it's legit. John Smith Law. You see, you've got the 0
Oh.
and the O. And so the bottom is just some examples, the L's, the I's, the O's, and the ones. We skim things real quickly, we don't pay attention. Oh, I know that email address, you click on it, and boom, they hooked your computer. We had a caregiver employee scammed on us on jury duty. They got called up, says, you didn't show up for jury duty, and now there's a bench warrant for your arrest. Yes, and so let's make sure we have the right Judy Smith, and they got her personal information. Luckily, I'll share one more thing with you toward the end. We call the Consumer Fraud Division over at the 16th Judicial District and got that squashed. Nothing ever happened. The grandma, grandpa thing, we mentioned earlier, one of our parishioners at St. Gabriel's was in Chicago, and their Chicago friends got called by the grandson. The bad guys had gone into this lady's Facebook, and you learn a lot about people on Facebook, all their friends, and they knew that Johnny, the grandson, lived in the basement, was going to school, and so they called up as Johnny's friend. Johnny's in trouble, he needs some bail money, and the caller ID came up Chicago PD. They thought it was legit. And they knew all about Johnny, and he went to this school, University of Chicago. They knew he lived in the basement. They knew all of his personal information because they went from her Facebook to his Facebook and learned, they knew all about Johnny. And so the lady was gonna wire money over. And our friend said, well, no, have him put Johnny on the line.
Yeah.
And sure enough, Johnny got on the line. And he's mumbling. He said, well, I was in a car wreck and I've got cloth up my nose and my tooth, I've got a wad of packing in my tooth, and that's why I sound different. And so it still sounded legit to the grandmother. Again, that grandmother-grandson emotional bond. And our friend said, where's he at? Well, he's supposed to be at school. Give him a call. And they're pressuring her to send money right away. And she called, and Johnny was at school and was talking to her. You're not at the police station? You haven't been in an accident? You're not in trouble? No. And they were that close to, when Johnny came on the phone, Chicago PD on the caller ID, the bad guys had done all their homework with the Facebook. They were that close to losing about $1,500. You get a lot of freebie offers. My wife has a CPAP machine, Darth Vader. She gets CPAP supply emails all the time, and we only work with National Jewish, so all these other stuff are just scams. So if they're offering free CPAP supplies, free diabetes supplies. I haven't heard this one in a while, but here in the mountains, you just won a weekend in Breckenridge at our Timber Lodge, come up. And when I first moved here, I almost fell for one of those because I wanted to get a free weekend up in Breckenridge. But it all sounded legit, and then they wanted a credit card number to hold it. I said, no, we're not doing that. So I just hung up on them. But mail scams are also there. Oops. Bank statements. They grab your bank statements, your credit cards, again, cleaning the checks that you find in the mail. They suggest if you've got one of those mailboxes that are singular and you put the red flag up that there's mail to be, the bad guys are driving around neighborhoods, affluent neighborhoods. Anytime they see a red flag up, beware, they're gonna open up that mailbox and take everything inside. Hopefully people don't do that anymore. And you mentioned they have the keys now to the neighborhood mailboxes. That's scary.
There have been several mail carriers who've been robbed to get those keys.
Yeah,
All they take is the keys. All they want from the mail carrier is the keys. They don't take what's in his truck or anything else. They just take his keys and
wow.
that's all they're after.
Yeah,
It gives them a lot of access to a lot of mailboxes.
I'm gonna let you read these next couple I'll get through.
One other one.
Yes, ma'am.
If someone calls and says, is this man marriage? What's your
If they
usual
call and
answer?
say what?
Is this man marriage, or am I talking to, and give you your name? What's your usual answer?
Yes.
Then they've got your voice print.
They've got your voice and they got you saying yes to
Yes.
whatever they put in front of you.
Whatever they want to put in front of me.
Yeah.
This is she is a much better answer.
This is she.
This is she.
Well, I'll share a
Or
really good one
who
before
is
we
calling,
leave.
who is calling? I usually say, who is calling?
I'll share a really good one before we leave, but, fake websites, man, you know, the Home Depot blue or orange website and Amazon with a swirl, the bad guys can duplicate the look and feel of websites of people that you deal with, so you gotta be careful about those, and let me show you this. The S on the end, HTTP, the S is very important. If it has the S after it, it's gonna be safe, and then up in the right-hand corner, there's a lock on there. You wanna see the lock. That's also a secure website. So if you got the lock and you've got the S, you can have confidence that that's the right thing to do. Okay, again, we touched this about putting mail outside. The bad guys in the lab can take everything out of there and get a blank check on you, set up another account. Remember the old days, we go to the grocery store, write a check, and we had our social security number on the checks? That stopped a long time ago. But we got a little lady we take care of who's 97, and she still wants to pay her bills. She's not able to write them. So I'd still send her a hard copy. Her daughter pays the bill online. And the other day she sent in a check, and it was upside down. No, the stamp was upside down on the letter. Inside wasn't a check but a deposit slip that she'd scribbled something at 97, and it had her social security number on it.
Oh, God.
And her daughter let her keep an old bank account that's been canceled for years, just so that she makes her mother feel like she's in control. And she was sending me a check, but it was a deposit slip, and it had, as check was sold, it had her social security number on it. So that was scary.
But the Treasury Department makes you do that.
True. Hopefully, the mail's getting to the Treasury Department
When you pay your taxes.
when you pay your taxes. Exactly.
One line that makes you do that.
So again, some of this is overlap from us and the district attorney. But we tell our employees, they come and interview, don't bring your social security card. You shouldn't be carrying your social security card in your wallet. If you lose your wallet, boy, once you lose that number, the bad guys have it. Keep it at home, lock it up. We have them take a picture of it and send it to our on-call phone, so we have a copy in our files. And in our practice, I don't want any social security numbers of any of our clients. I don't need them. I don't want them on file. So we try to keep safe that way. So don't carry your card. If somebody's giving you a hard time on the phone, ask them some questions. Why do you need this number? How are you going to use it? How will you protect my information? And what happens if I don't give it to you? We've got a young lady who works for us who has a lot of health issues. She's not old enough to have Medicare. They're always wanting her social security number. Doctor doesn't need it. There's no reason why the doctor needs that. So don't give it out to people who don't need it.
Are we safer filing our taxes online than we are mailing?
If you're on the Colorado Department of Revenue or on the IRS, yes. We got an extension, and I just filed last week. And we did it online. You can wait a long time. I'm getting a refund, first time in 100 years, but it was safe. It was safe. Okay. Putting your password on your credit card, your bank account, your investments. don't use your mother's maiden name. Don't put your kids on there. The bad guys on Facebook can figure that out pretty quick. And they have a computer program where they can run things through and pretty much starting to decipher all your personal information. There is an opt-out number. I can't tell you how many times a month you get something in the mail from Chase or US Bank or what, and you know, $2,500 bonus, open up a new bank account. You can go online and opt, or on the phone and opt out of all those offers, because guess what? If the bad guys just get that, they can fill it out and set up an account in your name. So they're out there. How many people have a shredder in their office? Oh, good. We shred a lot, and we do a cross cut. So it's not just one strip, it cross cuts into smaller pieces. If you order new checks, have them sent to the bank. Go to the bank and pick them up. We use big checks for our corporation, and that box looks very obvious that there's checkbooks in there. So we have them sent to the bank, we pick them up at the bank. If they're sitting out on your porch or in your mailbox, the bad guys know what a checkbook box looks like, and boom, they've grabbed you. I know everybody uses antivirus software. Not putting financial information on your laptop without a firewall is really dangerous. A Episcopalian doctor we took care of over at, what's the other one down the other end of Dry Creek?
St. Tim's.
St. Tim's. Wonderful doctor, retired pediatrician, had a 40-person staff. His son is in and out of the house with drug problems, living on the street. He came in sober and stayed with him for a while, and over time he got their passwords on their investments. He took over $400,000 for drugs and alcohol and friends and more drugs. And heartbreaking, this gentleman, this doctor became ill, and his assets were so gone he had to have a Medicaid bed at a nursing home. And this guy had worked hard all his life and had quite a small fortune, and just heartbreaking. He was in a 2-person room in a bad nursing home on a Medicaid bed due to hacking by a family member. Here's a good one. Wi-Fi. You go into a Starbucks and you can barely find a place to sit because everybody's in there having coffee, having $9 coffee with their laptop, and they're on their laptops. Those Wi-Fi setups are not secure usually. And the bad guys can be a block away and start hacking in. So public Wi-Fis are not good. Turn off your Bluetooth and your Wi-Fi controls when you're in a public location. This is a new one at the bottom. Ask the employee, let's say Starbucks, to confirm the correct name for the network that they're using, and you've got a little bit better chance of keeping things going. Really quickly, honor your time. The second one, there is a do not call registry. It used to work. A previous administration was approached by the FTC saying, hey, can we stop this registry? And they were given permission. And so when we were getting calls at the house, now I'll get 3 or 4 a day on my cell phone. I'm surprised it hasn't rung this morning. So the do not call doesn't work. Perhaps we can get some new leadership at the FTC and put that back. There is a junk mail, that's still in place. There's a junk mail address I put in here for you if you want to go and register and get them to stop the junk mail. But the do not call list isn't working. To protect yourself, I've done this. Make copies of all your important papers. Your credit card, your driver's license, keep them in a safe place. With all the scams now, we'll come to it in a second. Your credit, if you've been scammed, check your credit reports often. Your FICO numbers. If you've been hacked, perhaps that's being affected on your credit ratings, so you can call all three and keep up with them. If you lose a card or stolen, you can call the bank. They're going to cover you. Call them within 48 hours, and they'll limit your total loss to $50. When we had the 27 simultaneous Starbucks charges, my corporate card, they didn't even charge us $50. They just waived all the fees and they took care of it. But you got to report it quickly. If you delay it, it goes way beyond 2 days, you're liable for even more, up to $50. If it's more than 2 months, the banks aren't going to step in and help you, so the bad guys are going to win. And you can put a fraud alert on your credit report. Oops.
You have no protection from a debit card, right?
Correct.
You can tell my wife that. She likes debit cards.
I can make it a slide I took out. Debit card, beware, you're exposed. You're exposed. This is a cool one here. Let me go through the first two first. You can freeze your account. You can go in and freeze your account. If you open up try to get a loan or a credit card, it's not going to work because your account is frozen, but if it's been tampered with, it certainly protects you till you get things straightened out. I gave you the numbers for the local counties around here. Here's a good one. I put it in red. I put it in bold. 720-874-8547. The previous district attorney consumer fraud director was named Barbara Martin Worley. She was awesome. I don't know if she spoke here in the past or not. This is her suggestion. Bad guys are calling up. You're nice. You don't want to offend anybody. You don't want to hang up. Say, hey, I can't hear you very well on this phone. Can you call me back on my other line? Give them 720-874-8547. Because it's hard for some of us old people, especially hearing aids, to hear. So can you call me back on my other line so I can hear you better? And they end up calling, that goes directly to the district attorney's office, the consumer fraud director picks up. And I got the bad guys. So I put it in bold, I put it in red, I put it italicized. Keep that number by a little cheat sheet by your phone because it really helps them get a handle on some of these bad guys. If that's the only thing you take away today, please take that away. The fraudulent check issue. You can stop payments, you can freeze the account, and you can call this system called CHEX, C-H-E-X system. It's an 800 number I put in there for you. I put some other retail databases. I called some of those when my card wouldn't work at the gas station and put that scam in there, so they were helpful. Oop. This is just an acknowledgement for the 16th Judicial District Consumer Fraud Protection. Their number there is again, and guess what? That hotline number I put in red is on this also. So, anybody want to share experiences, or I got some two good suggestions? Yes, ma'am.
How do they get, I have a credit card that has, I think, $1,000 limit. And it was in my wallet, and I got a call from the bank going, somebody had, charged something on it. I'm going, well, that's really interesting since it hasn't been out of my wallet.
Yeah.
How?
Several ways. You guys remember years ago the Dinner Playhouse Theater
Country Dinner Playhouse.
over here off I-25 and
Country Dinner Playhouse.
that frontage road type thing? Late one night on like a Saturday, bad guys in the parking lot waiting for the waiters to come out. Hey buddy, come here. And they gave them a little skimming device to put in their pocket. So when you paid for your dinner at the Playhouse, they had your card, and all they had to do is touch it to their pocket, charge, bring you back to sign, and the bad information was caught by that skimmer, just like the skimmers in the gas pumps. And so they got card numbers that way. One of my employees had her car stolen. You know, if you don't keep your car clean, they went through the glove box and maybe under the seat found a receipt, a credit card receipt, and it had the numbers on it, old-timey numbers on it. And so they got her card number that way. So skimming, receipts, there's, you know, retail folks are underpaid and overworked, and they're very liable to do something with the bad guys like they did at the Playhouse Theater and put a skimmer in the waiter's pocket. And he got paid every week on what he did. So, yes, ma'am.
I have a sign-up sheet here. If anyone would like to receive your newsletter, I'd like to pass this around.
We've got a newsletter for this that we do once a quarter.
So, well,
If you could circulate it, if anybody's interested.
I don't know what table it got to. So, I've got a couple of good new hints from you guys. I'm gonna add that to it about the debit. I had it on there and I took it off, and about the universal keys. Anybody else want to share?
How do you feel about, I'm an Apple guy, so I use fingerprints and facial recognition on my phone for passwords. Are they better?
Much better.
Okay.
Much better. Much better.
If I ever cut this finger off, I'll never, I don't remember my password.
I've got finger recognition on my on-call phone. This is our corporate on-call phone. My wife can't use it. She's a fair-skinned redhead, and basically almost has no fingerprints. She should have gone into safe cracking, right? When we started our business, we had to get a background check on us, and they fingerprinted us. And my wife had to go to the Inglewood police station a third time because they couldn't read her fingerprint. So fingerprint and face recognition they haven't hacked that yet, so that's the best.
Mindy, is that okay?
Yes, Sandy?
I've been interested, the emails I'm getting lately are, thank you for your order for blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And all you need to do is just click down below and to get the information about whatever the order was, and I've learned to just delete those immediately. But I'm getting quite a few of them.
More and more and more. Got one the other day about you haven't claimed your refund. You haven't claimed your refund. You know, click on this so we can get your refund. And it's from some unrecognizable. And the other thing, like I showed you, where the bad guys put the L's and the I's and the O's and zeros, their email address had some misspellings in it. Very suspicious. Just start reading and quit skimming, and you'll pick up on some of the bad guy stuff. Because, yes, ma'am.
The one I've been getting on my phone is just a casual, hey, what are you doing?
Yep.
Or, hey, you want to go to dinner tonight?
Yep.
Good to see you.
I got a couple of those last
tomorrow, or, you know, that, whatever it is.
Or share pictures.
And I just go up to my block on my
Yep.
phone, because I can block, there's even a drop down that says spam, and I go yes, and it says block and report, and I put it on there. Another one has been on my email, a good friend of mine going, hey, photos. No, there would be no reason that Suzanne, my friend, is sending me photos of anything, so I get to the point where I can't afford to not trust everybody and everything, because I don't want to live like that. But my common sense has worked better than anything else of going down. My spidey sense is what I call it.
Yeah.
Is now. She's not sending me
Thank you.
anything.
One more I'm seeing more and more on Facebook. Your Facebook friends are contacting you. There's a guy named Neil Wagner, who was a music director for St. Gabriel's for a while.
Went to church here.
He was here too. got an email from Neil. Oh, Neil, great, how you doing? He said, yeah, Dad died, and there was all these photos. He lived on a farm. Maybe somebody got this besides me. He had his ATV, he had his motorcycle, he had a Chevy pickup, he had an old Toyota Camry, all this farm equipment and some pretty nice furniture. Super good prices. There's an employee that needs a car, and so I went back and said, yeah, I'd like to get that car for one of my employees. Neil said, fine, just, send me $5,000, I'll hold it for you, and you can come see it. And I'm that close. I'm going, Neil, it's Roger, why do you want my $5,000? And so, I had an old directory, and I called Neil. He said, my dad died in 2009. What are you talking about? And it was all super enticing because they're good prices, and I know Neil. That close. Yes, Jim.
We've been fighting this for the last month. We got hacked in early September.
Oh no.
And they started with 21,000 out of our account, which Wells Fargo caught and denied. But then what they did is they took our telephone and they forwarded it to their telephone number and pretended to be me and my wife. They got hold of my daughter's address and they sent her money, $700, $700, and $1,600, and told her what to do with all the money. One $700 went to BMO, just moved, once got to BMO, it was gone. The $1,600, they asked her to go to the store and buy 2 Apple cards, each $4.50. Well, she got suspicious and she called.
Yeah.
And the guy said, yeah, this is Jim. And she said, you don't sound like my dad. And he said, I've got a cold, I'm sorry, but here, let me give you all the information just so you know. So they had our social security number and everything. And so she really felt like it was true.
Yeah.
And all that money got out of her, and finally, one Wells Fargo thought she was the culprit.
Oh.
So they took $3,000 out of her account, and we spent 30 days getting that money back. But every one of our credit cards was hacked. And actually, one of the things we found out is that they make money by selling the data they get to somebody else.
Yeah.
So we had hackers in Las Vegas,
Brokers, yeah.
hackers in Hong Kong, we had hackers in Washington, D.C.
How do you think all this started? How did they get initial information?
And that's the answer we'll probably never know. We think it was through Comcast, but we don't know. One of the things I've learned with Comcast, if you put star 73 on your phone, it can't be forwarded, and that would have eliminated that. But we've learned a lot.
Whoa.
But we've been fighting it. We had to redo every credit card and everything, so we froze our bank account.
Yeah.
Went in the next day, we got a new bank account. Within an hour, they were in it. So we froze that one.
Jiminy.
And then Wells Fargo said, I think you're okay then. The next morning we came in, and he looked at our account, and he said,